Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. In early childhood education, we make countless decisions every single day, and sometimes those decisions aren't easy. So ethical dilemmas often involve balancing the needs of the children we serve, the families we serve, our colleagues, and our program policies. And so today I wanted to take some time to share 3 pretty realistic ethical dilemmas that educators may encounter, and then we can discuss how the NAEYC Code of Ethics can help us make really thoughtful professional decisions. And while every situation is unique, the code really serves as this valuable guide for protecting the child's well-being, and then while still maintaining very respectful relationships with everyone involved. So why do ethics matter so much? So ethical dilemmas, they're really a normal part of working in early childhood education because there isn't always just one obvious answer. So as educators, we have responsibilities again to children, families, colleagues, employers, and our communities. And so the NAEYC Code of Ethics was really created to help guide those difficult decisions by outlining the ethical responsibilities of our profession. And so throughout the presentation today, you'll notice that each dilemma is connected to specific sections of the code, all that support ethical and professional decision making. Okay, so let's begin with a situation that many educators, myself included, could realistically face. So imagine a parent asked that her 3-year-old daughter not participate in any painting or any finger painting or any other sensory activities because the clothing that she has on is expensive and it often gets ruined. So as educators, we know that sensory experiences play a significant role in developing fine motor skills, creativity. It promotes problem solving and early learning. But at the same time, we want to respect the family's concerns and build a positive partnership. And so this creates an ethical dilemma because both the child's developmental needs and the family's wishes are both very important. So before looking at the code, I guess ask yourself, what would you do in this situation? Okay, so how can we apply the code of ethics to our first dilemma? So the code reminds us that our responsibility is not to simply agree or disagree with the family's request. Instead, we should work collaboratively to find a solution that it can support both the child's development while still respecting the family's concerns. So in this case, I would listen carefully to the parent's perspective and explain why sensory play is such an important part of early childhood learning. And then together, maybe we can explore alternatives, maybe using a smock, an oversized t-shirt, ensuring that we use washable paints, or even maybe keeping an extra pair of clothes at school. So this approach really follows responsibility 1.2, and that is what emphasizes providing developmentally appropriate learning environments, and responsibility 2.13, which is what encourages educators to explain their professional reasoning and work with families to find appropriate alternatives rather than just simply denying or accepting a specific request. Okay, our next dilemma focuses on a child's basic needs. So imagine that you notice a child frequently comes to school hungry and asks classmates for food almost every single day. And so naturally, your first instinct would probably be to want to help right away. But at the same time, it's important not to jump to conclusions or even make assumptions about a family's situation. And so there could be many reasons why a child arrives hungry, including financial hardship, transportation challenges, challenging work schedules, or any other family circumstances we might not know about. So this situation requires us to balance both compassion with our professional responsibility while always keeping the child's well-being at the center of our decision making. So let's apply the code to this dilemma. So the NAEYC Code reminds us that our first responsibility is to support children's well-being. In this particular situation, I would first make sure the child's immediate needs are addressed according to my program's policies. And then I would also document my observations over time rather than relying on just that one single incident. And then the next thing that I would do would be to have a private but still respectful conversation with the family, just to better understand what might be happening and then offer information about available community resources if needed. And if there are reasonable cause to suspect maybe abuse or neglect, I would follow my state's mandated reporting requirements as well. And so this approach supports the child's well-being while treating the family with dignity, respect, and compassion. Okay, our final dilemma focuses on professionalism and confidentiality. So imagine you're eating lunch in the break room when you overhear two teachers talking about a child's family. And they begin discussing the family's financial struggles and make judgmental comments while other staff members nearby can hear the entire conversation. Even though the family isn't present, confidential information is being shared in a very inappropriate setting. So situations like this can really damage the trust that we have between the family and educator and create an unprofessional work environment. And so as professionals, we have to remember that we have an ethical responsibility to protect children's and families' privacies, even during some of these casual conversations. Okay, let's see how we can apply the code of ethics to this dilemma. So the code makes it really clear that educators are responsible for protecting children's information and respecting families' privacy. So for this situation, I would avoid participating in the conversation itself and, if appropriate, respectfully redirect it. If the behavior continued or maybe involved a repeated breach of confidentiality, I would then follow my program's procedures by speaking privately with the colleague or even informing a supervisor if necessary. Addressing the issue professionally helps protect the family's trust, and it supports a respectful workplace, and it also models ethical behavior for everyone on the team. And we have to remember, maintaining confidentiality isn't just about following the policy itself. It's more about showing respect for every child and family that we serve. Okay, just some key takeaways from today's presentation. So as we've seen through these three scenarios, ethical dilemmas really are a normal part of working in early childhood education. The NAEYC Code of Ethics is here for us to actively use because it provides a strong framework for making those thoughtful and professional decisions. Whether we're working with children or communicating with families, collaborating with our colleagues, our goal is always to protect children's well-being while treating others with dignity and respect. So taking just a little bit of time to reflect, communicate openly, and work together helps us build those trusting relationships and create positive learning environments for every child. I'd like to thank you all for taking time today to listen to my presentation, and hopefully some of these examples demonstrate how the NAEYC Code can serve as a practical guide when we are faced with navigating challenging situations like this in early childhood education. And so we have to remember, by using the code to guide our decisions, we can better support children we serve, we can strengthen relationships with the families we serve, and we can maintain professionalism within our program. Thank you so much.